Greetings everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias. Today we are going to talk about my week with the Canto Group Origin. Now really quick before we get into it, I do want to make a correction from the last video. I said in the last video that Canto sold these through his Instagram, which is not true. He actually has a website that he was selling them through, and there were a few left in stock by the time I made that video. That very well could change by now, but his website linked in the, I left a pinned comment in the last video, and then also it's linked on like his Instagram and stuff. So Canto Group website, you can get the Origin. That's pretty cool. You're just so used to smaller drop base makers selling through Instagram that it was just a slip of the mind. So there's the correction for that. But let's get into my week with the Canto Group Origin, because this thing really seriously impressed me. I like it a lot. I think it is a really solid flipper. I don't think it is perfect, much like most balisongs that I talk about, but I really like it. This is the kind of balisong that, while I'm not currently looking, I don't really have the money spending bug right now. I haven't spent money on any of my hobbies, audio balisong, in a while to like expand my collection. I don't really have the urge to, because I've been excuse me, because I've been so freaking busy with school that I don't really feel like that money would go towards time invested into a hobby. But secondary rant aside, this is the first balisong that I've tried in a little bit that's made me go, you know what? Like, I almost want to buy one of these. Unfortunately, it just doesn't really, I don't really think it would stand out in my collection. Just because I have things like the Prisma Pro and the Sliff T. It really does feel like a combination between the Prisma Pro and the Sliff T, because you have a bit of handle bias that's there, but I wouldn't say it's as handle bias as the Sliff T. I don't know. The Sliff T I consider to be moderately handle biased without the weights. With the weights in, it's fairly handle biased. But the Canto Group Origin it's pretty good. I like it a lot. Again, not perfect, because this texturing, I'm not vibing with it. The texturing on it, it's very sandpapery. It's very sharp, and you really do find yourself noticing that the more that you flip it. There will be some times that your fingers just rub against it in the wrong way, and it doesn't feel that good. It does make for a great grip, so if you're someone who's like, oh, grip above all else, I mean, this has plenty of it. It's just that discomfort. And it also could just be the fact that it's contrasted with just these flat sides that don't really have much. I mean, the speed channel, how did I do that backwards? What the hell? The speed channel isn't really doing much for me in terms of grip. Speed channels usually never do. Unless they're big enough, but generally, like the Nemesis, you don't really feel that speed channel. So for grip, not really doing much for me. But what it does provide is just a very, I hesitate to say distributed, because you're taking weights out of here, but because there is so much that isn't speed channel, then because these weights sit up a little higher on the handle, it feels pretty distributed while still having that little bit of handle bias that I'm sure people are looking for in the hobby, because I know how many people love their handle bias. And other than that, it was just a good week. Like, it sat next to my desk. I flipped it here and there. Ow. I actually think I flipped it more than anything else in my collection over the week. Mostly just because it was the most accessible thing to me, because it's the thing that I kept out. But also just because it was that good and I just wanted to spend time with it. Now, it isn't along the lines of like, oh, this is my favorite thing ever in the price range. But I would put this at a solid, I would probably put it at a solid top 3. Like, I would definitely be picking one of these up over something like an Antarctic, I would say. Maybe a BB Firefly, if you're not looking for that uniqueness. I mean, definitely not if you're looking for the uniqueness of a Firefly. And I don't know. I'm struggling to think what else is in that price range actually right now. 150. I mean, you get the idea, though. It is definitely at the higher end of my list for that price range. Especially because if you get a blemished one, 175 for 7075, and it's built like a tank, I imagine this would, in theory, be a pretty good beater. Now, this is a pass-around unit, and it obviously has some blemishes, but the tolerances are rock solid. And overall, it is rock solid. I know some people are concerned about this blade. I think that's something to maybe be aware of. Unfortunately, since it's a pass-around unit, it's not exactly something that I can flip over concrete and like verify that for you guys, but just something to be possibly aware of. I don't see it being a big issue, but maybe it is. You know, the Vortex broke back in the day, so who knows? But the Origin is just good. It's just solid. And I guess that's kind of why I had such a hard time saying anything about it in the video that I unboxed it, because it just does everything right, and it doesn't really do too much wrong. Anything that it does wrong isn't a huge deal. Like the sandpapery texture, not the biggest thing if you're into grip, you know? So I like it a lot. I think it's super solid. I'm not like absolutely raving about it. It doesn't do a lot for me personally in the realm of like being super unique and being like perfect to my preferences, because I wouldn't say that it is, but I can still recognize just how solid it is, and I still did really, really enjoy my time with it. I would give this a solid pick it up if you're interested kind of recommendation, you know? If you like the design, if you like the sound, if you think you would like the balance profile, I really can't recommend it enough. I think it's really good. Canto, you did great. I am very excited to see what you come out with next. I think the Tizona or something. I don't know what his next titanium design is going to be called, but I know what it's going to look like. I think most of you do, because he posted it, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago at this point, something like that. But yeah, very impressed by this thing. Like it a lot. Go check it out if you're interested. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.